I love the Russian language. Absolutely love Russian. It is an incredible language. English has been changed and modified and has different roots and origins from different languages, and it kind of comes together and you have this mix, and you see that with different words and pronunciations, and that's kind of hard to kind of figure out grammar rules and whatnot because there's so many different roots, origins, I guess, of the English language. Russian's it's a lot different. I mean, in that regard, it comes to Slavic language, and of course, it's evolved over the centuries, as all languages do. However, it's kept a lot of the same roots. And that is really cool because it means that it sticks to its own grammar rules a lot better than English does. So when you learn a rule, generally speaking, that rule will hold regardless of the situation. So now, that being said, Russian grammar is a lot more complex than English grammar. I'll touch on that in a second. I guess so. You have grammar and pronunciation. I think are the two main facets of a language that are if you can pronounce the language and you understand the grammar, then you're most of the way there of knowing and understanding the language. The pronunciation, excuse me, is not what I would say overly difficult. It's not something like Chinese. It's not tonal, obviously, or at all. So you can pretty much anybody can pronounce it with relative success. That being said, it's very hard to pronounce it like a native. But the point is, the pronunciation isn't the roadblock that most foreign speakers have to learning Russian. The roadblock is the grammar. The grammar is by and far the hardest aspect of the language, and that's because they are a case-based language. And what that means is, in English, well, yeah, of course, in English, you conjugate verbs, right? You have different verbs, and based on the tense and based on who's doing the action, the verb will change and the verb will conjugate. And so you have an infinitive, let's say to run, right? I run, he runs, they run, or if we're talking about past tense, I ran, she ran, he ran, all that. The to run, that infinitive will conjugate to be different, to express a different situation. Well, in Russian, you have that same sort of conjugation system, but it also applies to all nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and it affects the whole sentence. So if you wanted to say, I saw the boy, you would end up modifying not only the to see infinitive to become saw, but you'd also modify boy, and you would change the ending on it. So each ending can change to one of pretty much 24 different options. So you have 6 cases, and each case has a masculine, feminine, and neuter, and plural aspect to it. And so with these 6 cases, you can change the ending of that noun, the ending of the direct object of the sentence, a myriad of different ways. And that makes it extremely complicated because how you change it matters. The way the ending of that word is changed will tell you the role of that word in the sentence. So I saw the boy. If I change boy to be the direct object, then all of a sudden it doesn't matter if I say I saw the boy. I can say I boy saw. In Russian, that makes perfect sense. The word order stops mattering because because you have the declinations, which is to say the changed endings of the nouns, of the pronouns, of the adjectives modifying the nouns. And it all gets very complex because the natives don't even think about it, and they'll say it in whatever order. Well, so I suppose word order then stops becoming grammatically necessary, but rather content-oriented. So natives will say things in different word orders to stress different meanings, to express different emotions, different thoughts. Russian doesn't have a lot of question words, so word order will then be used to signify a question, or denote surprise, or confirmation, or commentary, or whatnot. So it gets pretty hairy when you're trying to nail down the minutia, the grammatical principles. So yeah, pretty tough.